And we are live. Thank you for tuning in to Bout That Life podcast. Appreciate you if you've been here for, rocking with me for a while. Again, obviously, if you're new on this, on the YouTube side, feel free to maybe hit that like and subscribe button. Do the HBO special, help a brother out. I'm here to bring you guys another good guest, some good insight for helping parents, players, coaches, directors, everybody in this basketball community. Obviously, you guys know I've had professionals sit down and talk with you. So hopefully this is another episode, give you some light, gives you some help, and then I'll introduce my guests right after you check out this intro.
Bout That Life podcast. If you're not a subscriber, you need to be. You have to be. You're learning about the game. You're helping your young athlete on and off the court. Check it out. Bout That Life podcast.
YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California. It's Bout That Life podcast with your host, Coach C.Collins and Coach MJ.
Start 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Hey, welcome to Bout That Life podcast. This is your host, Coach C.Collins. If you are tuning in on the audio side, I really appreciate you. Obviously, you've been, as most people know, the audio side for me is doing much bigger than my YouTube side. But again, if you like both, if you like the content, check me out on my social medias. The links are there. Obviously, I ain't super famous, so go ahead and DM me if you got questions, concerns, anything like that. But I'm always big on trying to help the basketball community out. And like I always say, do the HBO special, help a brother out, hit that follow, hit that subscribe. But in any case, hopefully this information helps make you a better athlete. With all that being said, I have a really cool guest for everybody. I'm really excited about this. We've been talking before the show for last 30, 45 minutes, and it's been great conversation. So hopefully all that bleeds into this episode and gets you guys some good information. Before I do that, let me give a quick shout out to my sponsors. Shout out to Dr. Dish, best shooting machine on the market. I use them. They're reliable. If you're looking for a shooting machine for the home, they got a home version. It's a really good one. They have the All-Star, the Rebel. Tell them About That Life podcast send you, and they will hook you up with a discount. Also, if you're looking for tournaments, Hardwood Palace, right? Obviously, that, as you guys know, that's in Rockland, California, right next to me. They host tournaments every weekend. They have rec leagues. Any of your basketball needs. It's a great facility. Free parking. You don't have to pay for that. So please feel free if you're a new AAU team, if you're a parent looking where to start, where to put my kid to start getting in this game of basketball, check out Hardwood Palace. Tell them About That Life sent you. They'll hook you up. Talk to Grant or Steve, and they got you. And then last but not least, of course, I got to give a shout out to West Coast Takeover with my guy DeMario. He's the reason I'm sitting down with my guest today. So, big shout out to him, man, and much appreciated. So, that's another guy that runs tournaments mainly in the Sacramento area. His are more, if you're looking for hopefully higher level talent, you're looking for good competition, that would be the one I would say for sure. Go ahead and hit him up. But with all that now out the way, let me get to my guest. He's been doing this quite a while, and obviously we'll get into his story, your story, and what makes you do what you do. But obviously, if anybody knows AAU, if you've walked this high level path, and maybe you haven't, maybe this is some of you tuning in this episode and you're learning who I am and who he is right from the jump. The biggest thing I would say to take away from this episode is learn and listen and apply the information, right? So maybe some of the things he says or I say resonate with you. Some of it you might have some pushback on, but you have to figure out what's going to work for you as not only a parent. This is for you parents and you basketball players, coaches, directors, and whatnot. But as you guys know, the big thing about me with this show, I want to humanize the people that are behind the curtain, because they put in a lot of work just like myself, and I'm big on advocating for these guys. But without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Ben Perkins.
Good to be with you.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for suffering through my intro. I appreciate it.
No. Listen, gotta do it.
Nah, man. Let's get right to it. I want people to know who you are, man. Please, this is your this is your time. Tell people who you are. Kind of what you do, your basketball background, if you would like, and just your overall take and passion with all this.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of starting, of course, basketball has been in me since I was little, man.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough to be, a top 100 player in the country, coming out, got a chance to play ABCD camp.
Yeah.
Doing all of those things. Small town kid from Vinton, Louisiana. You know what I mean? That's part of what drives me to get into this space and do it is knowing how difficult it can be for some kids to get that opportunity to get exposure. If I didn't get fortunate in a couple of situations, I might not have been where I was. If I wouldn't have been to certain tournaments and got seen by certain people, I might not have gotten that opportunity to be seen by, at that point, it was the New Orleans Jazz.
Yeah.
We had, Lester Earl, Eugene Eckerson.
Okay, yeah.
Those players. One of my good friends, Greedy Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Byron Mouton, like a lot of those guys. And if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't have been seen by the Houston Hoops and played under the Houston Hoops at that time. But it was all fortunate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because of that, like I said, I was able to earn the recognition to be able to be a top 100 player, go to EBCD camp.
Mm-hmm.
Same year, Tracy McGrady came out that
Nice.
year. Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
That whole group.
Right.
Shay Cotton.
Yeah. Shay Cotton, yeah. And he was on my show. That was really good.
It was fortunate, and that's really what fuels me in this space, is to try to provide those opportunities for players and try to gather and gain knowledge for players and parents about how to succeed in this space and what it takes, what you should be focused on and what you shouldn't. And if you are focused on it, how should you be applying that to your process? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From that, again, I played at Providence College. Spent 2 years there. I ended up, my coach, of course, the college life.
Yeah.
We did well my freshman year. My coach took a job at Virginia.
Oh, man.
I said, okay, let me give this a try. Didn't work out. End up coming back after my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
Went to, came back to McNeese State. We did well, man. We went 17-3 in conference. Both years. Went to the tournament.
Nice.
Had some great experiences.
Yeah.
The big thing for me was I was able to go back home to McNeese State. It's in Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, small town, but my family got a chance to
to watch you play, and
so it was big,
you
know. And again, I was blessed, man. I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to play in Europe, for 10 years.
Very cool.
And see the world and play the game that I love. You know what I mean? So, I was thankful for it. And then, of course, from there, it was time for me to figure out.
Yeah, be a grown up.
You know that process.
It's time to grow up.
It's time to grow up. Time to figure this out. I started doing it through the AAU scene, trying to help a friend out doing some AAU. Then it kind of gravitated towards me and did it. And I tried that for a couple of years, but then I realized, man, my real passion was player development. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I got into the player development phase, and through the player development phase, a couple of years into it, I linked up with my mentor, John Lucas,
mm-hmm.
and man, we were on like a 12-year run of running his national camps.
Yeah,
became the director, of his national camps and doing those for him, and from there it progressed into taking this step into coast to coast. And the biggest thing that I'm excited about, and happy about with this platform is the impact that I can have in the space.
And you
we have so many people that complain about the space and complain about the things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
but nobody's willing to step up and take charge and take responsibility and kind of take some ownership in it. And that's what I'm in it for. Everything that I'm doing and everything that we do in this space, it revolves around trying to guide and give that information and try to give that knowledge to the players and the parents and even some coaches that may not understand, like, hey, how can I help my kids get a better opportunity? Or, hey, my kids deserve this opportunity, to be able to have a platform to be like, okay, well, here's your chance. And also a lot of people, they don't take advantage of it the way that they should, but it's like, if it's not going the way that you want, ask why. Again, we were talking about it before. I have my weekly, live chat that I do on Instagram every Wednesday. Just for that reason. Like, there's no such thing as a dumb question. There's no such thing as a bad question.
And I've tuned in on your lives, and you're always really transparent, and you're honest. You just give your opinion, which is important.
The thing about it is you can't be uncomfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
Exactly.
Because us having difference in opinions, like, that's how you learn. I may not get a full understanding of a situation until I hear from your perspective.
Right.
So you can't come into this and be involved in this space and be sensitive.
Right.
I deal with a lot of players and parents on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That they don't agree with everything that I do.
Right.
And I understand that. And I'm open to that. But it's like, okay, well, let me explain to you my process.
Right.
So you can understand why. And if you don't agree with it, let's have a conversation. I am more than open to acknowledge if I might not be right in a situation.
Of course.
Like, okay, maybe I didn't see your kid. Maybe I saw a bad game.
Right.
But it's not the be all end all. You know what I mean? And it's just really trying to navigate this space and make sure that people understand I'm in it to help everybody. I don't pick sides. I don't do favors.
Yeah.
This is just about the work that's put in. And again, you got to understand too, it is subjective. This is my opinion.
Yes.
My opinion may differ from your opinion, but I have poured into the work that I'm doing. I put a lot of time. I put out a lot of effort. The people that I work with put in as much time and as much effort. And it's honest.
Yeah.
You may not agree with it, but it's honest, and it's been accumulated because, again, I'm not really a toot your horn type person, but I don't know a lot of people in this space that travel to as many different regions and many different events as we do. And that allows me to have a full overview of the space and know what I'm looking at compared to what's going on in another region and what's going on. So when I'm putting out a national ranking, it's not just talk. Like, I've traveled to all of the
You
regions.
put the legwork to go to these gyms and go all over
the sacrifices.
Yeah, 100%.
You know the sacrifices, like time with your family, weekends is off limits.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
ain't too many weekends. I'm home.
Yeah, I gotta be out, seeing kids and evaluating. But it's what comes with the responsibility of doing this in this space. Like, I can't tell you that I'm out here if I'm not out here. Right. So, it just comes with it, man, and I embrace it.
No, I love that. Okay. Well, for those who don't know, if this is your first time hearing him or listening to the show, or just kind of feel like, oh, well, what does he do? He runs what's called Coast to Coast Preps. It's a big ranking committee site, whatever adjective you want to add to that. But basically, he goes around and evaluates talent, and he gives his perspective on it. And he has weight in what he says because it's pretty accurate, So it's like, and we'll get more into it, especially for you kids who listen to my show, because I do know I have quite a bit of youth guys that listen to it, because of course the number one question I know you're all waiting to hear is, how do I get ranked? How do I get ranked? What do I got to do to get ranked? Like, and and of course parents, your next question might be like, well, do rankings really matter? Do they actually matter? And obviously we'll get all into that, but I wanted you guys to understand who he is and what he does in this basketball space. And that's the beauty of this community we have. There's so many hats that people wear. And a lot of us played it and love it, and we all sharing this passion of it, right? I make the joke it's borderline like a cult, but like that's how much we love the game. But I said there's worse things to be addicted to. So I'm like, we just love basketball. But hopefully this episode helps you guys really understand men in his position and what he does. So first thing I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, tell me some good points and some bad points when it comes to AAU basketball and in its current state in 2025.
The good points is it's still a vehicle to allow you to measure yourself up against the best talent in a region, in a state, in the country.
Yeah.
It's a way for you to kind of to go out there, test yourself, learn about yourself. You're gonna have to be open and accept it.
Yeah.
But say, okay, I'm strong here. I need to work on this. I need to get in the gym and work on this and go and do this. But I know I can do this. It's a tool to allow you to develop at the highest level. Okay. Because the iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
100%. And unless you're going out there and you're finding the best competition, you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know how good you are.
Yeah.
And you don't know your limits.
And a lot of kids, they find out that they're better than they realize they are because they say, oh, well, it's not that far.
Right.
If I commit myself, with putting in more time in the gym, getting in more shots, working on my handle a little better, studying film a little more, I can get there.
Yeah.
So that's the good with AAU. You know. The bad is, and again, everybody asks, and a lot of my friends and former teammates, they don't understand. Man, why you playing around in that little middle school, elementary space?
Right.
And I tell them, I'm like, listen, high school and stuff, it's everybody's there. Yeah. Everybody's doing that. I'm like,
it's gonna take care of itself.
In this elementary space, I can still touch and reach these parents and these kids at a time when I can make an impact on their growth and their journey up. Like there's a possibility and there's a chance that I can give them knowledge or I can guide them along a path that can allow them to be more successful. I can prepare them for when that opportunity may come for them, they're ready.
Okay.
Or they're not surprised. They're not shocked.
Right.
So that's why I got into the space. Now back to the question of the negative.
Yeah.
The negative is I have to do that because there's a lot of what's the right word? A lot of people are focused on the wrong things when it comes to the AAU space.
Yeah.
What AAU should be about is what we talked about. It should be about the growth and the development of players.
100%.
It tends to get about winning tournaments or having the most, the most talented player on your team, and that can hurt the credibility of you.
Right.
That can hurt the credibility of your program. That can hurt the credibility of you as a coach. If you're not if you're not consistent, if you're not trustworthy, if you're not locked in on making sure that what you're selling is what you're selling to everyone, then then things happen, things go astray, trust gets ruined, things like that. So really it's just, I think the downside is that at times you get people, parents, coaches get more consumed with the right now of it than to what it should be building you towards.
Okay.
They're more focused and locked in on, I want to win this tournament.
Right.
Oh, this is the biggest tournament, of the season.
Yeah.
Let me fly in this kid, or let me bring in this kid, and let's go and
building,
win this.
Essentially just building super teams.
So
talented
we
everybody.
can beat our chest and say that we did it when, that's a temporary thing.
Yep.
The long-term thing is are these kids getting better? That's my opinion on what it is.
Yeah, and I think it speaks a lot to that because I know as a coach, I feel I feel a lot more accomplished when I have a group of kids that I've had, like we talked about, 4th, 5th grade, watch them grow, push them, guide them, train them, develop them. Now let's say we're in 8th grade and we're in the national Made Hoops championship in Vegas, my team in the championship going against some put together super team and we win. That feels so much better than me, like you said, trying to grab the most talent and just basically my talent's going to outmatch yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's not that to me. That becomes just a pickup game. It's just control pickup.
Definitely, and I understand my role in my space in this space, and I understand how people are going to say, "Well, you rank those teams that way." And it's like, yes, I do, but it's because I have to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I have to talk about, I have to be objective about it. And also it's like, and I know we'll get to it, but it's like, what is my purpose in the rankings? My purpose in the rankings may not align with your purpose for the rankings.
Right.
But my purpose is for it to be a measuring stick.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know where your team really stacks up in your region, I'll let you know who are considered the top teams. You go and seek those teams out. Compete. Now you can learn. As a coach, you can learn. As a player, you can learn. As a parent, you can learn.
Yep.
Where are we strong? Where do we need to work on? Then we go back and work. Okay. Like it's a measuring stick, So
I love that. So kind of leading to my second question, what, and parents being the name one, what is the biggest message you want to send to parents when it comes to, like what you do with the rankings and whatnot? Because as well as I do, parents can get really swept up in this, I want my kid here, and I say it on the show, and I say it to my kids. I say, look, in the grand scheme of things, the rankings don't matter. They don't in the bigger picture. But again, everyone wants their work validated. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are busting your ass in 5th grade and you happen to get ranked and it feels good, there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't think you're done, right? But unfortunately, I think parents kind of get this lens of like, well, if he was ranked 5th grade, he has to be ranked 6th grade. If he's ranked 6th grade, he has to be ranked 7th. Like there's like this continuous, or even somehow if you're ranked in 8th grade, that's going to carry you all the way to your senior in high school. Like it's just, it's obviously a ridiculous lens. I'm just curious, if you got the chance to sit down, talk to parents, if there's a parent sitting right in this chair next to us, what's the big message you can give to them?
The biggest message is understand what these rankings are about. Like you're saying, they're literally just a current measuring stick for you. And everybody does want their kids validated. But also understand that I can't do it just because you want it.
Right.
It has to be earned. And if it's earned, if I'm sitting there and I'm evaluating and it's earned, I'm going to give you that respect that he earned it. I'm not going to see a kid that's out there killing it.
Right.
And I'm not going to reward them for that performance.
Yeah.
But it's also, like you said, my mentor, John Lucas, says this all the time. It's like, what do you get? What does the top 5th grader in the country, what does he win? He gets to go to the 6th grade.
Right.
And you got to do it all over.
Right. All over again.
Just because you're the number 1 player in 5th grade, that means nothing next year.
Right.
Like, I mean, I see it a lot, man. I see it a lot where it's a top kid in the 5th grade, he makes that next step to the 6th grade. He starts to fall. Mm-hmm. And it could be for a variety of reasons. It could be, that kid matured faster than the other kids.
Yeah.
The kid got comfortable.
Yeah.
And stopped putting in the work.
Like we talked about that. Yeah.
The kid got comfortable and just only worked on what he was good at.
Yeah.
And not worked on his
weaknesses.
His weaknesses.
Yeah.
And on the same time, I've seen plenty of times where a kid wasn't ranked in the 5th grade, mm-hmm. but by the 8th grade, he's one of the best players in the country. He ran his race.
Yeah.
He may have been taking lumps his 6th grade year, his 7th grade year, from those players that was above him, but it fueled him to develop his game. It fueled that hunger.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, man, and I think it's important to understand that I think is missing now is people don't understand, and players, it's hard to get them to accept this. And, you know, it's almost like that old folks talk.
Yeah.
But, like, competitiveness now is a skill that you have to develop in the kids.
Yes, it is.
We
just had it.
We had to have it because if you're playing in the park
right,
and you wanted to get on the court,
bruh,
and you want to stay on the court,
you had to win.
You had to win. Like, there was no.
You did whatever you do.
Whatever I have to do, you know. So it was instilled in us.
You're right.
Now everything is so set up for kids where they got air-conditioned gyms. Mm-hmm. They have personal trainers at a young age. We didn't have personal trainers. No, not at all. We had to figure it. We had to figure it out because I want to be good. So and it's not an indictment to this group, but again, me being a player development person, one of the first things and the most effort and time that I've had to put into kids is teaching them how to compete. Yeah. Teaching them what it's like when you fall down. How do you fight to get up? Yeah. Like, when you get down, do you just fall and accept it? Or do you fight tooth and nail to get out of it? And it's like, that's when you see it on every level. That competitiveness is what's the separator right now. Because a lot of kids now, without question, are more skilled and more athletic. Yeah. But their willingness and commitment to compete, like, when it gets hard, who's going to separate them?
They're losing their grit. Yeah. Just don't, you know, which was, like I said, I just felt like it was something that was born with me and my peers and just period. That just was the norm, right?
But we had, you saw it. Like, when you wanted to go play, you went to the park. Yeah. You had to normally, for a minute, you had to sit there and watch everybody to wait to see.
And and that's not even saying, like, if you got next and some dude punk you and be like, no, I got next. Like,
none of that. Like, you had to earn anything that was given. Like, to even make a name for yourself. And then that satisfaction of when you did do it and everybody kind of gave you that respect for young fella. Right. Young fella is, you know,
Then you came back the next day and now they like, hey, man, we got you.
That process hasn't translated because the environment is different. Right. So you as a player development person, and same as me, you got to teach them. You got to train it into them on how to compete. Put them in adverse situations, and challenge them. Hey, look, you gotta grind out of this. Yeah. Like, it ain't supposed to be fair. No, it's not supposed to be easy. That's just not how it works. Because no matter how talented you are, at some point you're going to come up against your equal with talent. Yeah. The only thing that's going to separate you is the work that you've put in and your mentality. Yep. So it's, Yeah. No,
we know it. It's every. I feel like all of us talk about it, and we're still chill, and people are like, man, y'all say, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep beating this dead horse till it gets in you kids' heads. Like, y'all need to understand this is what it takes. Yeah. It's not going to go away just because the game's evolved. It's just not.
It's not sexy. It's not exciting. No. But it's like, this is what it is. Like,
but it's a requirement.
You have to do it. That's just what it is. So
I wanted to, my next question I wanted to ask you, so we have even in our area. I gotta mention him because he does a great job, very similar to yourself. I don't know if you've heard of Coach's Digest. I'll probably show it to you during the show, after the show. But he does essentially what you do, but he does it in primarily the NorCal, Sacramento area and whatnot. But he does it for the high school level. He doesn't really step into AAU too much. He just does a high school level, high school boys. They're trying to push him to do girls more too. They're like, man, do girls too.
It can be tough.
Right, exactly. He's like, man, I can't go to every game.
Yeah.
Right? So
you can't try to master one thing. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To overextend yourself, then you become the master of none.
Exactly.
So trust me, I understand.
And so it's been fun watching his growth as well, right? His IG following, people really look, it was funny. He delved into AAU a little bit one time, and this is what I mean. Like, it was either last year or 2 years ago, whatever. He did he did a ranking of most influential NorCal AAU coaches. I was on that list, and thank you, shout out, Coaches Digest, love that. But he got a shit ton of backlash. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you got it, and that's when he said, "Yeah, I ain't stepping into this arena no more." Because
you gotta. The truth of it is you can't be sensitive in this space. If you're gonna do any form of ranking, you can't be sensitive, and you can't be unapproachable. Yeah, like you can't be like too good for it.
Yeah, or like standoffish. Like,
no, you can't do it, man. Like, because if you're gonna have the audacity to put a ranking out, you gotta be able to accept what comes with it, and if you're gonna do it, you got to be informed enough, and you have to have enough with you to be able to explain to them why. Yeah.
And I mean, and then that's essentially my question is like, if someone wants to enter your space, like, kind of what's the mentality they got to have? What's the process or the formula? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm sure you've done a lot of trial and error. Some things work, some things don't. Will you figure it out which works best for you? What advice do you have for if anybody wants steps in that arena?
You got to be willing to grind. Is in line with what we tell the kids. Yeah. Like, you got to be willing to outwork everyone. Knock on, I don't like to. I'm 46, right. But I still feel like whenever I'm in the gym, I have the mentality that I'm gonna outwork anybody else that's evaluating in the gym.
Love that.
I'm gonna cover in a span. I'm gonna cover more games, and I'm gonna evaluate more games at the same time than anybody else in the gym, because that's what it comes down to. You got to put in the sweat equity. Yeah. You have to be willing to outwork what you think anybody else is doing in that space, and you got to be able to have a system of you got to have a mentality that, okay, like, what is your process? What value do you put on current development, like where they are currently as a player? Yeah. Where do they project? You got to have that formula of what's more important, projection or production. Okay. And you got to be willing to stick to it. Yeah. Like, I, being fully transparent, I have to lean towards, like potential. Yeah. Because whenever we get to that space, there's people that are above that look at our rankings for information. Of course. So I have to lean towards, athleticism, height, those things when it comes to evaluating. But at the same time, I cannot ignore production. Mm-hmm. If a kid is out there and he may not be the biggest kid, he may not be the fastest kid, but he's consistently producing. Yeah. I'm not like
you're not gonna ignore that.
You can't ignore it. Yeah. Because if that's the case, Jalen Brunson. Yeah.
100%, right.
Nikola Jokic. Yeah. I mean, you can look at Shai Gilgeous. He's not the fastest. No. He's not the most explosive. Right. No. But
but he can figure it out. He can produce.
He said he committed himself to his skill set.
Yeah.
So you can't ignore it. So I won't ignore it. And I have to make some calls sometimes where I put current production over projection, because again, a lot of people don't understand. I evaluate everything. Mm-hmm. When I'm sitting there, I'm not just watching the court. I'm watching how you're interacting with your coaches on the bench. I'm watching if you're looking more in the stands than you are looking at your coach. I'm watching how you interact with your teammates, how your teammates interact with you, because being that we've played, we understand coaching. If I'm going and I'm talking to college coaches about a kid, most of the time they're going to ask me, how's his family? Yeah. They're going to ask me, how's his attitude? How's his
teammate? Right?
How's his attitude? Is he a grinder? Like, they literally, any Division I level coach, any NAIA, any coach, the first thing they're gonna ask me about is the character of the kid and the family. Yep. So it's like, when I'm watching and I'm evaluating, I'm watching it. When y'all get down, how do you respond? When y'all are up, how do you respond? Like, what's your focus? When y'all up, do you relax or do you keep your foot on the neck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you down, do you just put your head down and accept it, or are you fighting?
Yeah.
Like, do you have the ability to make big plays when your team needs them?
Yeah.
You know, do you want to guard the best player on the other team? You know, a lot of people believe that I only look at scoring. And that's easy to understand because people when people watch me whenever I'm I'm out there.
Of course.
So they see me going and looking at the stat sheet.
Yeah.
And I do have to look at the stat sheet because I need to get a barometer of saying, okay, are my eyes in line with what the stats are saying?
Yeah.
So I have to do that. But once I get that aligned, now I need to see, what are you doing defensively? Mm-hmm. You know, are you a really good on ball defense? Okay, you might not be. Are you good in the passing lanes and anticipating? You know, are you a rebounder? Mm-hmm. Do you rebound on both ends of the floor?
Yeah.
Are you a shot blocker? Are you a floor general?
Yeah.
Are you a playmaker? And people don't understand a lot of times when you talk about playmaker, they think you're scoring for yourself. No,
no.
A playmaker makes plays for his team
Yeah.
and himself, and it's that balance that you're there. You know, it's a lot of things. So in that process, you have to form what your process is and be willing to stand on it.
No, well, I'm glad you said that, because I mean that's something. Hopefully, people, like you said, when they check this episode out, they hear this from you, because I think it is easy. Like, okay, like we got to keep things a buck. Obviously, that's my show, Bout That Life podcast. Scoring matters. I tell parents, it's like, we're not gonna sit here and act like scoring 2 points a game means nothing. Like, yes, your kid does have to have some innate ability to score. However, this is always my counter to my parents and my kids. I say, a double-double is 5 layups. That's all we talking, kid. Like, because you know, when you mention like double figures, I know their minds go to like 20 points, 30 points, 25 points, 18 points, whatever. I'm like, no. 5 layups. If you can get 5 layups and do everything else, you're a double-double kid. I mean, you know what I mean? So I really try to break that stuff down to my kids on a micro level so they don't get overwhelmed with, they see you on the court and think, oh, I got to go for 30. It's the only way he's going to see me. I got to go for 30. You know what I mean?
The truth is, scoring is valuable.
Yeah.
Scoring can get your foot into the door, but I got to make sure that I'm clear about there are big men that I have ranked in the top 25, you know, nationally, that don't score double digits in points, but they will give you 15 rebounds a game and 5 or 6 blocks in a game.
See, that's valuable.
I've ranked guards that may score 8 to 10 points a game, but they also give you 8 to 10 assists a game, and they're the toughest guy on the court, picking up their defenders, creating havoc on ball defense, like, you know, the head of the snake, where they're creating chaos with their defense.
Right.
You know, there's players that I put in the top 25 with that. So, yes, if you put that with scoring, if you're scoring at a 20-point clip,
and you're doing all that,
now you're in the top 5. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is valuable. Scoring is valuable, but it's not the be-all, end-all.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it's important to understand, like, with you know, coaching, with college, whenever a college coach is looking at you, because we have to have these conversations all the time. Yeah. They're looking at you, even a top 50 kid in the country, you know, and we're talking about once you're in high school.
Yeah.
Not in middle school.
Yeah.
But they're looking at you and they're going to say, okay, how can this kid impact my team if he gets 4 or 5 shots in a game?
Right.
Can he impact us in a way that helps us win, helps me keep my job, and helps us win? Yeah. If he only gets 4 shots in a game. Exactly. Like, so that lines up with what else? What tools are you bringing? Are you a playmaker? Are you a wing that can make plays and pass? Can you rebound? Can you defend multiple positions? like what all are you bringing? And that's why you have to place that equal value on all of those other qualities, because it may be your defense, your help side defense. That kid, I know if I put this kid in the game, he's going to give me 2 or 3 steals. It doesn't seem like, but that's 2 or 3 more offensive opportunities. So you got to understand that, and you got to know when we're making our assessments, I have to think about those things, because when a college coach reaches out to me, I got to have that information in hand.
And then be honest with it, right?
Yeah, because the moment I'm not honest, then my credibility is on the line. He looking at me sideways like, you told me that this kid was
right.
And so I got to be honest. I mean, I got staying with my own kids. I got neither one of my kids, my son or my daughter.
Right.
Neither one of them were top 100 kids in the country. They're both Division I level kids.
See,
you're both playing in college, right?
But I'm sure as a father, you were honest with them. Like, look, this is what we got to
do. If you want to play, this is what you're gonna have to do, and that's what it is. So,
I love that. Well, and in case people are wondering, like, oh, why is he here? Why is he here? He's not just here to do my show. As much as I would love that, he's not here just to do my show. You're actually doing a tournament this weekend with DeMario, a West Coast takeover. And you'll get a chance to see Hardwood Palace.
Right.
What are you kind of looking forward to, or because I more or less want to talk to the what keeps you going, what keeps you motivated? Because I mean, you probably at this point you've seen hundreds of thousands of kids. You're seeing, like you said, you're flying all over the country. You're in a bunch of different gyms. Talking to parents, talking to kids, and I would like to think you probably have more positive experiences than negative, of course, and and obviously, like now you're here in Rockland, Sacramento area, you get to see a new gym, a new atmosphere. I don't know how often you come to the West Coast, but I'm sure you want to make the trip worth it. Like, what keeps you excited and keeps you going doing this?
Well, that's the thing, with Coast to Coast now, we've always been, the rankings and the media and things like that. We've in the last 2 years, we've started to step into the tournament space, and us having tournaments, and with DeMario and West Coast Takeover being it. And this is really important to me, because I'm big on equality, and I felt like last year I wasn't able to get my eyes on the West Coast as much as I wanted to.
Right.
So that it drives me, because I want to see as many. If I'm going to do this and I'm going to put all of this time in, I want to make sure I'm seeing as many people as I can. Mm-hmm. And us hosting tournaments allows us to be able to come in, and people know that they're going to have that opportunity to be evaluated and to be seen, and I can give that information to them. It drives me, man. I still get excited going to a new location, because I know I'm gonna get to see players that I don't normally get to see. Yeah. And that goes back to, me. If I wasn't lucky enough when I was a kid to get into the right situation, I wouldn't have made it to where I was. Right. So giving that opportunity to be able to see some kids that I haven't seen before that may, have a chance, and I can be able to kind of put them on a path to be like, okay, you do have a chance. Yeah. That's what drives me to do all of this. It's fun to see the kids that are already successful, and to see them growing and developing as players. But even more than that, I like to see the players that I haven't seen before. So coming to regions I haven't, this is going to be the first time since I've been with Coast to Coast that I've been in North California. Yeah. So I'm excited about it, because I know that I'm going to get a chance to see.
I know my kids are excited too.
I get a chance to see a lot of those kids that are new. So it's like just building up my, my view and my knowledge fully of it, not just at the top. Knowing what's going on at the top when it comes to the top teams, like in the region and stuff, is important to have. But I want to know I want to know overall because there's players on all levels.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to be able to make sure that they feel they have just as much as an opportunity as those do. So that's what we used, you know, these situations for.
When did you start to realize, like, you know, wow, I make a post about a kid, it really gets a bunch of attention? Because I know it. At some point, I always joke, we all start with one follow,
Right,
one follow, and obviously your following's grown beyond that. But it's like, when did it kind of hit you, like, man, you know, when I post a kid, it could change, you know, it can get a lot of eyes, or, you know, it can get a lot of pushback too. But, you know what I mean, like, was there a point, you know, after a few years it kind of clicked, or it just kind of, you know, you just kind of sat back one day and was like, wow, this is really helping these young men, you know, get to their end game, which is most of them collegiately, right?
Right. For me, because again, when it comes to coast, like I just stepped into the space with Coast to Coast 2 years ago.
Okay.
Like I had been doing it on a scale with directing camps and, you know, traveling around and seeing players and evaluating players for the camps a lot of ways. But when I undertook the Coast to Coast, you know, responsibility, I think it was after maybe the second or third event that I evaluated. All of a sudden, you know, I would walk in and people was like, "Hey, that's Coast to Coast." Hey, that,
right.
You know. So it was like,
it is a big deal.
You know, it was a big deal, but it also made me take it even more seriously than I did before, because now my reputation is fully on it. So that means, like, it's even more serious. It's even more important that I do this the right way, and I don't gloss over it, or I don't give half effort, or you know, people see me, you know, and they don't realize, you know, if the gym opens at 8 in the morning, I'm in there until it closes. You know, if I'm, you know, I mean, it's times when I don't. It's times when I don't get lunch. Yeah. You know, like if some of these gyms don't have the best.
True.
You know,
fair
food.
enough.
We're getting older too, and you can't just eat anything. You know, but I feel like it's my responsibility to try to see as much as I can and try to give as much effort, because like now it matters. And it does. It feels good when I step into a gym and everybody says, "Man, I appreciate what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing for the space." You know, and honestly, I embrace the conversations that aren't comfortable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's passion. It's coming from at no time have I felt like any of those conversations haven't come from a place of wanting to learn and wanting to understand.
Yeah.
They may be aggressive and it may be wrong, but you don't know unless you ask.
Right.
So if you don't understand why I did something, and you feel like, you know, something else is deserved, then we can have that conversation. I can explain to you my process. Yeah. But that also made me feel important, that you got so worked up by my opinion that it made you mad enough to come to me and want to fuss at me about it.
That's a powerful thing. That's what I'm saying.
So I, Intel, have to be together enough to be able to give you a clear answer about your issue. Yeah. Like I can't just say because I said so. Like, you know, that don't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got to be able to give you the information. And sometimes I can just be honest and say, "Listen, I apologize. I haven't seen your kid."
Right.
But if
you only got two eyes.
Yeah, but if you let me know, I'll make an effort and I'll try to get eyes on them and see. And if I've seen them, then I have to have that uncomfortable conversation and be like, "Well, your kid can score, you know, but if he scored 15 points in that game, but I watched and he gave up 20, that's a concern of mine, you know, or you know, he had 8 turnovers." You know,
that was a real conversation you got to have.
You know, his attitude isn't the best, and it's something that I got to be careful with, because attitude is a big thing that coaches, you know, college coaches ask me about. Mm-hmm. So I can't reward bad attitudes. You know, it's a lot of things, but I got to be open and comfortable enough to have those conversations and let parents know.
Have you ever had a conversation with a kid and a parent, and overall came out positive. Like, you know, you had kind of the, like you said, uncomfortable conversation with a parent or kid, and they was kind of like, they were like, oh, damn, he's right. I got to do better on that. You know what I mean?
Honestly, very few of them have went to where they weren't completely different than they started when they were uncomfortable.
All right.
Because once we have the conversation, you realize that, like, I don't have anything against your kid or you. There's foundational reasons why it is where it is.
Right.
And just because it's there right now doesn't mean that it can't grow and he can't get to where you want him to get to. But you got to be able to accept what I'm telling you, even if you may not agree with me.
Right.
Get information from somewhere else.
Right.
You know, check your sources.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you don't, you know, have the conversation with Coach, I talked to Ben Perkins and he told me that my son doesn't play defense. What is your...
And the coach might tell you, like,
you know,
he ain't wrong.
You know, he says my son is in the 5th grade and 6 foot and only gets 2 rebounds a game. That's a problem.
That,
you know, like, and it's not in a negative way, but it's like
it's constructive.
He isn't meeting his full potential if he doesn't, you know, because a lot of these parents and a lot of the kids, what they haven't learned to grasp yet, and as players we do is you don't really know what working hard is until someone puts it in your face.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's doing a good job of scoring, but he can do more with these rebounds.
Right.
And contesting shots. He's athletic. He's grabbing the rim in 5th grade.
Yeah.
But then he's not contesting shots. You know, he doesn't run the floor hard as he could with the athleticism that he has.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And those are small details that a lot of people just don't think about. But we as players and coaches
and
know.
it's understanding that if I can get them to address it at an early age, then it improves their long-term potential. Mm-hmm. So I can't reward you if you're not doing it. I have to, you know, do it that way. Okay. So, you know.
When you're in last one before we move to our next one, but when you're going through your grades, right? Mm-hmm. Do you kind of have different measuring sticks for different grades? Like I assume obviously you're not gonna evaluate this 6. Like I told you about my kid Kean, you're not gonna evaluate probably my 6th, 7th, 8th grader at the same measuring as maybe this 5th grader. Of course, I think some of those points will intersect, but do you kind of have a process for each grade that you look at?
Definitely. With the younger ones, it's more open.
Okay.
You're just looking for what is their skill set show that they may get a chance to be.
Okay.
As you go up and you get to middle school,
mm-hmm.
and especially as you're progressing 8th grade, it's about now I'm looking at it because I have to look at it on a couple fronts.
Right.
I got to look at it as, okay, if USA Basketball comes to me and asks me a question about a kid and how they may fit, I got to be able to tell them what his elite skill is.
Mm-hmm.
What positive impact he can bring to your team. Same for high school. Like I have to be looking at, okay, if this kid steps on the court for a high school game as a freshman, what's going to be his impact? So I have to be more detailed the higher up you get in grades with, like, you know, you gotta hold them to a higher standard.
Okay.
But when you're in elementary, one, I'm looking for your motor, I'm looking for your attitude,
mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at, you know, how hard you're willing to play, because that's going to show me a lot. You know, I love these teams that you can tell that their passion is defense. That's going to translate.
Yeah.
You know, much more than the ones that kind of follow that model of we're just going to shoot a whole bunch of shots and hopefully, you know.
Right.
So the higher that they get in grades, the more detailed I am with my expectation of what they need to see. I'm more demanding of them, and it's why I always I ask them, I beg them, like, come to me and ask me, what do I think about you, so I can tell you.
Okay.
It's not always because I've done it, and I do it sometimes where I'll go up to a kid and I'll grab him and I'm like, hey, man, listen, I like where you're at, but you really need to. They don't always receive it whenever it's not solicited.
Yeah.
You know, but if you really want to know, come to me, because I will tell you where you need to be. You know what I mean? Because in the AAU space, there's a lot of doing whatever I have to do to keep a kid that goes on. So when that happens, then players can get a false sense of themselves and a false sense of where they are in the space, because coaches and people around you, they want to tell you whatever they have to tell you to keep you there.
Yep.
Instead of what, you know, they probably more than likely they know what it is you need to do, but they're afraid to tell you because they don't want to run you off, feel like they're going to run you off.
Right.
My responsibility is to tell you what you need to do to be the best version of you.
100%.
And it may not be what you want to hear, but hopefully you understand that I have no skin in the game, really no skin in the game with any kid. So I have no reason to lie to you.
Yeah.
You know, I want the best for all of these kids. And I'm going to tell you what it takes and what you need to do to be successful.
Yeah, man. I want to roll into hot takes. All right. For you guys who've been listening, you understand this part of the show. This is when we're going to just talk about recent basketball events, things like that. Before we sit to talk more into the AAU and all that stuff, I always do this with all my guests. Got to give me your favorite NBA team.
It's tough. It's tough because, again, I'm in player development.
Right. So you're a fan of players. I get it.
I have, and there's one particular player that I've trained since he was in the seventh grade, and he's in the league now, and I'm loyal to him. Okay. You know what I mean?
Love it.
So it's wherever he's gonna go.
That's your favorite team.
I'm gonna watch all 82 games. But I can be a fan. I can be a fan of teams because of the way they play.
Okay.
I love the way that OKC plays. Mm-hmm. The way that they seem to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
The defense, like the way that they revolve everything around defense. I like it. I love it. I'm trying to think of they jump out, but I mean, honestly, I like the Timberwolves because I like the makeup of them. It's more of an old school feel.
Yeah.
You know, the size, the length.
Got Ant-Man out there.
Got Ant-Man, but then they got McDaniel on
Randall.
the perimeter. They got Randall.
Yep. They
got size and physicality. It brings you back to the old days. So I like them too. It's a lot of teams, but again, I gotta keep my loyalty to my kid.
So, and then the other fun part I do, I try to tell people, give me your top 5 of all time, top 5 NBA of all time.
That's a good.
It doesn't have to be in order, obviously, but it doesn't have to be in order.
Because I don't want.
But your top 5.
Well, I have no problem. Michael Jordan's
there you go. See, we agree on this. We agree on. I'm not young like that.
Exactly.
Hell no. I'm 42. Hell no. MJ number 1.
So Mike, you got to give the love and respect to LeBron.
100%.
Just because of what he's done.
The sustainability, the numbers, of course.
No question.
You can't take that away.
No question. Top 5 is tough, man. Kobe.
Yo,
just
God
because,
rest his soul, of course.
Again, everybody says it and it's true. The closest thing to Mike that anybody has ever come close to.
The mentality.
The mentality. And the work you're willing to put in. And the standard that you hold people to. Mm-hmm. Then it comes to just like, freaks. Like Wilt was, Wilt was a freak. You know what I mean? Like what he was doing. He was playing back in the 60s the way that players are playing now.
Right.
The long athletic 7-footer running the floor.
And nobody
he changed the game.
100%.
So I gotta say Wilt.
Who's your last one? That number 5 spot.
That's tough, man. That's tough. I'm gonna say this because it's it's so important. I'm gonna say Magic.
Nice.
And it's because Magic was he was a point guard, man.
Yeah.
Like he got his joy and excitement was facilitating his teammates, was getting his guys
He was that big. He was the prototype.
Yeah,
the
and he won.
Yeah.
He won doing it.
Yeah.
Championships. So I got to give him that. Because of that.
Right.
So
nice.
I mean, it's not a perfect list, I know, but
it's your list.
It's just me being honest.
No, I love it. Well, yeah, and again, I want to talk about the NBA a little bit. Obviously, you got 4 young superstars, young teams out there just getting after it. Do you think we're kind of getting to that end of the era? You know what I mean, with the Steph, the KD, the end of the super team. There's a lot of shifting that you can see. You know what I'm saying? So, just curious your thoughts on kind of all that.
One, I feel like we are at one of those tipping points. Kind of the old guards transitioning. With Shea, with Ant-Man, even, I mean, it seems, but Brunson's, he's younger.
Yeah.
Brunson kind of taking it.
Yeah. Halliburton.
Halliburton,
guys,
it's one of those transition phases, and it happens, all the time. Steph, again, as long as Steph is going to play, he's going to be effective.
Yes.
And same with LeBron. LeBron could play 5 more years,
right.
and he's gonna be effective.
Right.
But again, you can see as the playoffs come, it's different.
It wears on you, man.
And then, like you're saying, the super teams, I think the kind of the recipe has been out there that you can't just throw three players on the team and it works.
It's ending.
You have to construct it around versatility, ability to play on both ends of the floor. You got to have a top to bottom team.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, I mean, you look at OKC.
Yeah.
I mean, Shea has been out a lot, and they still win.
You have to have a culture
because of the culture. Look at. I mean, honestly, look at all of the teams that are currently playing right now.
Right.
They got it's culture.
Yes.
The Knicks. I mean, they got versatility, length, but they got a mentality around defense and never giving up and competing.
Yeah.
Even when you look at the Pacers, they're gonna run you into the ground, but they do it because they have a lineup and a roster that allows them to keep throwing bodies at you and playing at that pace and playing at that consistent. We talked about the Timberwolves. That's the way now. So it's more around constructing a culture and constructing a roster to fill that culture. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be hard because it's too much now. With if you got 3, you see it happen all the time. You got a big 3, when one of them gets hurt, or heaven forbid, 2 of them get hurt.
Right, your season's done.
You've invested all of this into those 3 players to where everything else has suffered, but now you need everything.
Right.
So it's
and I think, and in my opinion, just give my take. I mean, I think it's overall a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard pill for some people to swallow, because I'm a Warriors fan, right? Grew up in Oakland. I'm a straight Warriors guy. When we had our time in the sun, it was fantastic, right? But the cool part was how organically it was overall built. You know what I mean?
The thing.
Like the start of it was getting rid of Monte Ellis, which Warriors fans was not happy. I can tell you that straight up, because we saw Steph, but no one knew Steph would be.
Nobody knew.
Yeah, we did not.
Because you got to, we remember. Yeah. I remember. I was like, man, is this kid going to ever be able to stay on the floor?
Right.
Them
ankles was, bro.
They were brittle.
And I'm like, and I'm a Warrior. I'm like a real Warriors fan. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we got rid of Monte, but clearly it worked out. So, it's I like organic built teams, even as a coach, because I do that in AAU. So, no, I'm actually I'm interested to see one of these young guys get a ring. I'm interested in seeing the landscape of the NBA change. I do like that this playoffs has been more physical.
Yes. And they letting them play.
They letting them play for the most part. Well, I guess they're giving Shea a lot of the foul, but he's doing.
It's an art.
I hate to say it, he is a fucking foul merchant, but he is making it happen. You guys got to just plan and figure it out. It sucks, but that's the game. But no, like overall, this playoff series was fun to watch. Had a lot of competitive teams, a lot of competitive moments. I like the landscape of where basketball is leaning towards now, because the NBA, I mean, especially because they lost a lot of viewership. Their numbers were bad, whether they want to admit it or not. Their numbers were bad. So this is actually good for them right now.
And it's like you said, what's happened is now you have to construct a roster. Mm-hmm. You can't think that we're gonna just go and get a couple of guys.
Yep.
So now it takes more. So it's better for the game. It's gonna give more players opportunities to be able to blossom and grow, because it's you need if you don't have 8 guys that can come in and make an impact.
You're struggling, man.
One, you got to deal with the 82 game season and injuries and all of those things. So you need them for that. But then you know how it is in the playoffs. You're gonna need a guy to come in and he might have to show out for a game. Yeah. And it gives those opportunities. So it's better for the game because it gives a lot of more of these players opportunities. Now they have to know how to prepare for it and be ready for it. Yeah. But, I mean, I think it's good for the game, and I think it's bringing the game in the direction that you want it to, you want to see it.
No, 100%. And I want to shift to the WNBA, because obviously that's become a bigger and bigger topic. I talk about it on this show. I think us as basketball members or ambassadors of this game, it's big. I try to provide that platform as well to talk about the women's side. And I'm actually, I'm a fan of the women's game. I was watching it back when we had the Monarchs in SAC. Like, I actually was but again, I'm just a basketball junkie. That's just what I am, right?
It's funny. So my daughter's mom.
Who?
Demaya Walker.
Oh yeah, I did. I had. That's.
Yes.
I had no clue. Okay, yeah. I back when I was in my.
I spent some time.
I was like back when I was in my 20s, going to JUCO. Mm-hmm. I used to be a practice player against them.
Right.
I used to practice. I went against Yolanda Griffin. I went against her. I went against her a lot. Like, so that's that small fucking world.
It is. It's small. It's been back in SAC.
Man.
Again, it's our daughter that's at Rutgers now.
Okay.
She's at Rutgers now.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So the women's game is big for me because, again, I'm a girl's dad. And that's part of my daughter's, that's part of her future and what she wants to be. But it's good for the game in general, man. Like, people don't like to hear it, but the women's game is more in its purest form.
Yes,
like
it is.
It's a skill game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you when you watch it, you're watching good basketball. You're watching execution.
Yeah,
you're watching skill. You know what I mean? And if you appreciate the game, you love women's basketball.
Exactly.
Because they're playing in its purest form.
Yes.
And I train some of these, and when you're talking about skill and ability to play the game, ability to shoot, like they can compete with anybody when you're putting them into that context. So it's great to see them starting to get to that point of recognition and acceptance, on a major scale, because they deserve it.
And they obviously have their face of the league, Caitlin, right now. And, again, I talk about this before on the show, whether you love her, hate her, whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, she's putting butts in seats. And y'all need to understand that to the WNBA and the NBA are business. That is a huge part of it, and they need to I want to advocate that more and more. We have in YBA in my club, we have a girls side, and Kenji, who is the founder of YBA, and Coach Shaw, they run our girls side, and they do a phenomenal job. But I'm big. We're all big on here. We're trying to tell them, like, go to the girls game, like, go watch.
And it's a fun experience,
right?
Man.
Girls, like, because now we have the the Valkyries, the Golden State Valkyries. I haven't been to a game yet because I haven't been able to go to the Bay, but I plan to, and I want to take my daughter, and I want her to see it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just so I'm big on trying to make that very clear. Like, I'd really stay away from the dumbass debate. Like, okay, what's better? Who's better? It's like, look, each one is in their own lane.
And that's the thing, and it's like, it's kind of that whole who's the greatest of all times debate outside of Michael Jordan.
Right.
Everybody else. But it's like you can appreciate both.
Yes.
Like they're both their own product.
Exactly.
And they're both extremely high levels.
Yeah.
And they're both a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So it's, you shouldn't be comparing. They can be completely different experiences, going to both. So,
Well, so that's my soapbox for any of you guys listening or watching this. Go check out a women's game. Like,
really?
I promise you,
It's
not. Yeah, it's like it's good basketball now. It really is. I get. Maybe you could say years and years ago you had an issue with it or it wasn't exciting enough for you. Right now in this era, it is. It actually is.
And they got players.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Players.
They do. I was watching the Fever the other day. Of course, I watched the clip from Caitlin and Angel Reese, but everybody talked about that too. It's dead. But no, I was watching Indiana. It's her big. I wish I could remember her name. The tall, dark skin.
South Carolina.
Yeah. I remember her name, but she's nice. They run pick and roll action to her all the time, and she gets her footwork, her mid range, her mid post work. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not remembering your name right now, but I promise I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Like but she really impressed me. I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty damn good.
I mean, and that's the thing, man. Is like, again, it's in its purest form. Like, think about it. Asia Wilson has been so dominant, and like. She plays the game at such a high level, and it's like unless you watch it, you can't fully appreciate it, and you gotta make that effort and make that time. If you're really a lover of basketball, you gotta go and watch because it's great basketball, and the passion that they play with, the fire that they play with, you know what I mean? It makes everything exciting. So
I wanted to talk to you about. So I switch gears. I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously, this is a big hot take, and it's just the college landscape and how it's transforming. Right, it's just transforming before our eyes. Right. I don't know if you've seen the recent news, even in Sacramento with Mike Bibby coming as the head coach and Shaq as the GM, and they signed Nate Robinson's son. They signed Shaq's son. Mikey Williams is here. And I think Sac State, last report I read, they've raised about $55 to $65 million in NIL. Like, and this is just here, right? So that's not even counting everything that's happening. The transfer portal, NIL deals, these young kids, I know we call them kids, but they're young adults, but still like slowing down going to the NBA to potentially stay in college and make more money. Like, what's kind of your overall take in looking at it? Because I think from your perspective, it's different. It's pretty interesting.
It's a tricky thing. I'm happy for the players.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm also like, I'm happy for the players in multiple ways. I'm happy that one, they're in an opportunity where they can set themselves up financially, kind of to set themselves up for the future. But also, the way that the landscape has changed is, in a lot of ways, it's forced coaches to have to be more invested in their players.
Yes.
And not so much the dictatorship that we came up in and do what I say because I say so. Yep. But you have to develop a relationship with your players. So it's good in that way. It's dicey for me with the way it's not as much about the game a lot when it comes to people transferring in the middle of the season and can be eligible, right away.
I think there needs to be a checks and balance. All because you're not I don't want, my worry and my concern is I don't want the ability to work through adversity to be removed. Yeah. And a lot, I see that coming in a lot of ways because if I'm not starting, I'm going somewhere else. And it's like, you may not be ready to start. And we know this is just older men and grown adults,
Right.
that adversity is what builds who we are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And if you just keep running because you don't like the way it is,
That's going to translate into life in a lot of negative ways.
when you have to, when you got to deal with that adversity later on, you're not going to be equipped for it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the only worry that I have is, you know, the it's so easy to just pick up and go somewhere else. And it may be that you need to develop or grow in some kind of way by being in that adverse situation. That adversity, like the whole thing, iron sharpens iron, because it pushes you outside of your comfort zone. And the adversity sometimes is what you need to grow and to take your game and take your, you know, just your personality and who you are as a person to another level. So if you're just able to just pick up and just run because it's not the way you like it, it can be tricky. But I mean, I think that's the only you know, downside.
And that's fair. Do you think AAU culture has contributed to some of that? Because I'm just gonna be real. I think we do. Too many kids bounce between teams. You know, there's kids playing on 4 or 5 teams. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
Like,
and again, it's the same thing as a slippery slope, because a lot of times with AAU, you have to put yourself in a situation where you can be seen.
right.
So if you're not starting and you're, you know, say you're in the junior year, let me rephrase that, not say stop, you're not starting, but you're not playing 50, 60% of the game, then you're not in opportunity to be seen, and you're not in opportunity to grow and work through your mistakes and improve and, you know, take those bumps that you need to advance yourself. So you might need to find a different situation. But now when you just hopping, that can be problematic.
Right.
So it's, you know, nothing is clearly black and white.
Right, of course.
But it's like you know it when you see it.
Right.
You know, like situations. And I encourage, you know, parents and kids all the time, like, if you're not on the floor 50, 60% of the time, you need to be in a situation where you are, because that's the only way that you can, one, be seen, but you can work on your game and develop and grow, you know, to reach your full potential.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I just find, that's kind of a trick, like something I say it's trickling up. You know, most things trickles down, but like that AAU culture of running from adversity, I think it's kind of residuals are hitting college, and then college is kind of hitting the pros. It's kind of one of those weird reverse things.
Well, it's not even really reverse, because the era that's in the league now, it started when they were in AAU.
Yeah.
So that it's basically followed them.
Right.
And then now it's the norm.
Yeah.
You know, so it basically just followed up, you know, through the ranks that way.
And I did want to add, well, since we're segueing that, I wanted to add before we move to the last segment, but you know, AAU and loyalty, right? Like, obviously we talked a little bit about it before the show. I'm an advocate of loyalty. I'm big on, you know, you rock with the people who rock with you from the beginning. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times, so like, just to give context and example, right? I got my kid, Kian, Jordan, you know, LDR. I got a really strong 8th grade group, period. But Kian is the kid that's kind of at the tip of the spear, right? He's pretty separated himself apart. I connected with he runs the San Diego Soldiers, Joe. He asked me, like, man, can Kian, you know, rock with me on the EYBL circuit, you know, junior EYBL. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's a great opportunity for him. Go do it, because I have him actually playing with my 16U gold team, but they weren't playing at some of those weekends. We were just doing like little local stuff like Hardwood. And then my 8th grade guys are doing local. So I'm like, cool. My 8th grade kids get more opportunity to play, right? More experience. And they won and they killed it. Like, it's just fine. Kian gets the opportunity to play at that tough level, see how he measures up, right? Because the team he's on, Rip Hamilton sponsors it.
Okay, Rip City.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's on that team. So it's like, cool. Boom, he's there, gets that experience. And then obviously, you know, me as a coach, I can kind of just sit back and kind of let the chips fall where they may and see what happens. He did well, and the unique thing with him and like his dad is they rock with me. You know what I mean? He's not jumping ship. He's not like, oh, I did the CYBL thing, I'm leaving you, you know.
Right.
And I've coached this kid, and he's been a YBA product since like fourth grade, fourth grade, you know, about to step into high school. Like, I love those stories, and I think we need more of those stories. But the reality is that's now the minority. You know what I mean? Most of the kids now just bounce, parents bounce. You know, I'm just curious because I'm pretty sure, like I said, you might rank a kid and he's on one team. Next time you see the kid, he's on two, he's on another team. Next time you see the kid, you're like, damn, kid, what's the problem? You can't stay on one team, like, you know. So I figured for someone who's kind of more of an observer from the outside, maybe you can give your perspective and talk to the parents and players about that type of stuff.
Yeah. I'm just because of who I am, I'm huge on loyalty. But my view might be different than everybody else's. I view loyalty as a two-way street.
Okay.
So as a parent and a player, be loyal to the people that have treated you right and have taken care of you and took you under their wing. But as a coach, you know, you have to be able to, you know, be honest also and look at it and be like, okay, has this kid outgrown what I can provide for them? But also, every situation can be different.
Right.
Like, example, with your situation. Like, your situation is the prototypical situation because you look at it and you say, it's a good opportunity for him, go do it.
Yeah.
And the family is like, but we still rock with you.
Yeah.
So he can go and guest play. Like, I think that's the ideal situation where he's with you because he knows that he's going to get the development and the training and the growth in his game that he needs to. But you're also open and willing to allow him to go and like, oh, it's a circuit event, to where you can get exposure. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? This weekend you don't have to be with us.
Yeah,
go take advantage. I
want him to push himself.
Go take advantage of that opportunity. Yeah. So it's a two-way street. But a lot of times in this space there isn't a lot of loyalty. Yeah. I have experienced that players and parents can't. This is just a general thing, not everybody. They can gravitate towards the places that tell them what they want to hear, mm-hmm. instead of the places that tell them what they need to hear. And because people can receive what they need to hear as hating.
Yeah, and it's a big word. And everything's hating.
And it's not that it's hating. It's because I care about you, I'm going to tell you what you need to do and where you currently are and where we need to get you to. If I'm just telling you what you want to hear, I'm going to tell you, oh, you can be you can come with me and you can be a Power 5 kid.
Right.
And then when the time comes and you don't get a Division I look, you can say, oh, it just didn't pan out.
Right.
But you knew that from the beginning.
Right.
Because you were just using him for what you could get him now. So it's tricky. I wish it would be the way that you have that situation that's set up where coaches could understand, like, if there's a better situation, I'm open to letting them go. But I would also like parents to be open enough to be like, I appreciate everything that you did for me. What you do for him development-wise will always have value and will always come. But we need to allow him to be here. Yeah. And I believe that that's fair. And it may be because of the situation that I have with the kid that I have, because I've experienced that loyalty from him and his family, since we were in the 7th grade. And, again, I still train the kid, to this day. And, but I feel like that's the way it should be, because the family knows and he knows I'm going to tell you the truth. Right. But it's also because I love you. Yeah. I'm not going to let you be out there and like, hey, that ain't it, right. But whenever it's in a situation where they want to tell you what you want to hear, they could see you out there bad and they won't even say anything to you. They'll just let you be out there. That's not love. Right. And, that's the thing about loyalty. Loyalty is you got to be in those situations. You got you have to trust that what you're doing is the right thing, you know. And so it's a two-way street, and a lot of coaches don't view it that way. They want only the player to be loyal to them.
Yeah.
But you being loyal is also allowing them to go and experience something else,
Right.
you know.
And be the best version of self.
Exactly.
And again, I think it's because we mistake that word. You know, obviously loyalty has a positive connotation to it, but we have a tendency to think the positive side for our side.
Yeah. No one owes us anything.
Yeah.
And like I've being fully transparent, like through development process, and being a player development person, you have a pride and a confidence in what you do, and you know you want people to say thank you.
Yeah,
you want people but sometimes you want to be recognized for what you've done.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that's not what it's about.
Right.
Like your pride wants you to be like, man, shout me out whenever
right.
you know, but
that's the validation like we talked about.
But at the same time, that that's not why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't do it for that validation.
Right.
I do it because I want to see that player get better. If that player never mentions my name, I know and they know that we helped them to get better. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
So I mean, me being the person I am, I can acknowledge that I have struggled with that, with wanting that validation and wanting to get that credit whenever
I think that's just human.
Yeah.
That's just human nature.
I also understand that that's not my role. Like my role is to do what I do. And I love what I do. And when I see that growth and when I'm talking to him and when I'm talking to the family, they show that appreciation, then that's what it's about. Like nobody as a coach, as a trainer, no one owes you anything. You know what I mean? And 100%. So you can't take it personal if they want to do something else, because in their mind they're doing what they feel is best for their kid or their family. You may not agree, and it's like we kind of talked about before is I'm always let them come back, but you're not going to just keep coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
get two. Get two with me. Get two. And everybody knows that you get two.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and like you said, key in that situation, and a lot of my kids, some of my kids that are very high level, that like you said, is an ideal situation. And I realize even with my club, with this program, there is a glass ceiling that I'm just not at. I'm not a 3SSB. I'm not a UAA. I'm not the Puma, the New Balance. I'm not that, but I'm not other town elite either. You know what I mean? I'm something in the middle.
But it's also, and there's reasons for that, and you're saying that you're not there. To get to those levels, a lot of times you have to sacrifice your core values.
Yeah.
If you want to be, sometimes if you want to be on a Nike circuit or the Adidas circuit, to be successful and to stay relevant in those spaces, you have to sacrifice your core beliefs sometimes.
Yeah.
And some people are not willing to do that. Some people are like, well, I'd rather be here where I am and be able to keep my core values and be able to be who I am and be the person that I believe that is valuable in this space than to sacrifice that and give away part of who I am just to get on that level. So, it's just that acceptance and understanding and being comfortable with who you are and being comfortable with what you bring to this to the space and the value that has. I
like that, man. I do. I want to talk respectfully disrespectful. So you guys know who's longtime listeners. We're gonna talk about the stuff that
he's on fire.
Gets people's blood boiling a little bit. So. Obviously take what we say, take our advice, or don't give a shit. It's up to y'all. But the first thing I obviously want to talk to you about, and I know you have to see this a lot because you do the rankings and things and whatnot, but reclassing, right? Yeah. That's obviously the biggest, if not the biggest, topics that is very divisive in this basketball community. I personally, I'll give you my standpoint. I do think it's a case-by-case basis. I'm not 100% against it, but I'm definitely not for it either. I'm not an advocate for it. I think if you have to do it 1 year, hopefully do it the right way. Like for instance, I've had kids who have had maturity issues. They have severe ADHD and they're just not ready to step into high school, or but I've also had kids who've reclassed who are just really small, just small kids who need some time to let their body grow and whatnot. And I'm okay with that. Okay, 1 year, cool, whatever. I still adamantly say play your age or up, even if you're in your reclass year, you know what I mean? Like, find a way, and don't waste it and just try to play down and, like you said, see Ben Perkins in there and, oh, look at me, I'm the best sixth grader. Well, you're 13. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should, that's what I'm big on. But I think, yeah, it really is a case-by-case deal. I do think also, to add to it, when you deal with coaches that seek out these teams full of reclasses and then go play, I think that's just flat out cheating. I don't give a shit what any of them have to say to defend that or whatever. Like, if you have one or two couple reclasses, okay, cool. Like, I tell my kids, especially my 8th grade, we don't care. Like, I play them up a lot of times when we're local. Like, I'm playing you 16, you 17. I don't give a shit. So when we play those teams with it is what it is. We accept that, right? And my kids are all legit. But I know plenty of coaches that go seek and create those teams, and that I don't like, because to me it's just a form of cheating, just a legal way or an informal way of cheating, whatever you want to call it. It's just I don't like it. So that's my overall standpoint with reclassing. Obviously, you please speak to it on your side of things, but that's my overall outlook.
It's definitely a case by case, deal. I'm not completely against it, but like you're saying, for the right reasons. And I've talked about this a lot, on my lives. When I talk, you got to understand, if a kid's reclassing, or if the intention of you to reclass is because, let's say 7th grade, you're in the 7th grade, and then you reclass to be in the 7th grade, and your reasoning is it's because I want to be the number 1 7th grader in the country. That's not the right reason.
Right.
That's not what it should be about. Because from my experience and from my just observations, the more competitive the environment that a player keeps themselves in, the higher their growth curve is, which means they're going to get better faster being in a more intense competitive environment.
Yep.
So if you're in 7th grade and then you want to stay in the 7th grade, then you're losing out on that opportunity to be competing against 8th grade competition that is going to push your development curve and help you to get better. Because the more I'm a huge believer in you develop and grow from discomfort.
Yes.
And being uncomfortable. And if you in there because you're in the 7th grade and it's easy and you having fun and you looking good,
right,
what's going to happen is the kids that stayed in that grade, by the time y'all meet up again.
You're going to meet up again. That's the key part, too.
Because you're going to meet up again. By the time y'all meet up again, they're going to be ahead of you. Because they're going to be tested. They're going to be they're going to be pushed more. But like you're saying, if it's my kid's small and I think he needs to grow into his body and we need to spend this time filling out like you said, it could be a disability, learning disability, maturity thing.
Any of that stuff. Yeah.
Like that's understandable. But if you're doing it because you want to be the number 1 in the class, like we said, if you're number 1 in 7th grade, all that means is you're going to 8th grade.
Right.
And
good luck.
Now the problem is when you go to there, like you're going to be behind because see, you're weaponizing the people in that space by staying there because they're playing against you. They're getting an opportunity to play against somebody that's probably maybe older, bigger, faster, and they're learning how to deal with that. You know, they're using you
to get themselves
ready on how to deal with that. So then now when they see you next year, they're ready.
Right.
You know, because they've seen it, and maybe your development maybe you're done.
Yeah.
They're still going.
Right.
So you got to understand that. Like I always encourage to stay in the most intense competitive environment because again, if your development and your growth is the key, then being in the most difficult situation is going to push your growth and your development. It ain't going to be easy.
Yeah.
But it's going to help you to develop and grow.
It's crazy because as hoopers we know this because it's like you think even like I'm sure when you played college and I played college, like when we're in off season, where do we go do our open runs? We don't typically, exactly. We don't go. You know, you outgrow the local park. You know, I guess worst case scenario if we call all our, call the homies like but it's like no, we're going to either the local JUCOs or the other colleges or the NBA guys. Right? We're trying to hunt those runs because we know that's what's going to keep pushing me. That's what's going to get me better. Like I can't go down the street and play at YMCA and Boys and Girls Club with just the normal. I can't do that anymore.
And but you also know when you do that, people are gonna. When you go and seek that out, people are they're gonna talk to you. And be like, hey man, keep your head up.
Right.
Try to work on this. Try to work on that.
Yeah.
So it's that knowledge, and that's the thing when you're kind of sitting back or staying back, just because it's easy. Easy is not better.
Yeah.
And so you're literally, if that's the reason that you're reclassing, you're stunning your development.
Oh.
Like if you're doing it just to be the number one or something.
Right.
Or like you're saying, if coaches like. You don't let somebody come to you and tell you, "Oh, we want you to reclass because we want to have the number one team in the state."
Right. That happens. That's
but
crazy.
what does that do for my child's development as a player?
Right.
Them being number one in the state doesn't help him get closer to a Division I level scholarship.
And I think unfortunately a lot of people think they can carry like
it doesn't
that all the way to, and it's like
listen, it's. Like I'm thinking just about the 2028 class that I had last year, and I follow them now, but the huge shift already from who were the top players to now, there's players that are coming from nowhere that weren't on the radar that are dominant now. Those players, some of those players that were at the top. Or sliding down, like you have to stay in that environment that's going to challenge you, and when you get ahead, when you do get your recognition,
great,
that has to fuel you to be even hungrier, because the moment you drop your shoulders and relax, somebody's gonna get you all past you,
because they gunning for you now. Now you got a target on your back.
So it's one of the biggest reasons why I tell people, like, when view the rankings that we do, team and player, as recognition for what you've accomplished, but also motivation to, all right, if I'm number one now, I got to work even harder because now everybody's going to be hunting for me every time I play to try to catch me or get better. So that means I got to train even better. Or if I'm number 10, I need to be working even harder because I want to go catch number one.
Right.
Like, you should always be chasing something.
Yeah.
It should never be, because you're ranked, you get comfortable. But it also should never be an indictment if you're not ranked.
Right.
That you're not good.
No.
There's a lot of good play. But again, it's a long journey. Like, just because you're not ranked now, that doesn't mean you won't be ranked next year.
Right.
If you work on your game, if you have somebody say, Coach, can you assess me and tell me what do I need to do to get better? Honestly, and get that information and accept it and utilize it.
Well, it's like you said, run your own race.
That's it.
That's just run your own
That's
race. I wanted to ask you about this one because it's kind of a hot button topic we see a lot. Made hoops. I got to call them out a little bit. And y'all know I rock with you guys, but shit, some of this. So they post a lot of these sixth graders, and it's very questionable looking sixth graders. I don't know the kids, so I ain't throwing no shade at it. There's no shade on your parents, no shade on you as a young man. I'm just telling you, you don't look like a 12-year-old young man. But hey, if you are, more power to you. But for these videos you might run across, or these clips you might run across with these kids who are very questionable in their age and grade and things like that. What are your thoughts on any of that type of stuff?
I'm the maid situation. I'm not gonna.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Maid is maid, and
right?
Their maid is the, they're the big fish in the space.
Right.
But honestly, I'll be fully transparent. We promote and push one of those kids more than anything with Christian Bell. Mm-hmm. People look at him and they see him and they be like, why is he in this, because you look at him, you see the videos, we post the videos all the time, and it's like, it's crazy to see.
That's what it is.
But it's also, in my opinion, it's important for people around to see, like, this is what some of these kids look like. Yeah. And it's easy to, I don't want to say it's lazy, but it's easy to say, oh, that kid's just older. Look at him. Look how big he is. He's just older.
No, I think you're 1,000% right.
But you gotta, you know, and I know, because I have to do this, I go and I look at the parents. Yeah. I go and look at how tall the parent is, how athletic. I get the background to see, to try to figure out, like, how is this, to assign it. Now, if I look at a kid, because it's some seventh graders now that people are, but if I go and I look and I, because there's a couple, and I see the dad's 6'6". Yeah. The mom's 6'2" and was a All-American in volleyball. Yeah. At a school.
I have that right now with a kid on my seventh grade. His name's James.
I know you may think that the kid is older,
right?
But he's not.
Right.
Now, it's some. All we can do is go off the information that we have.
100%.
I don't. Again, if there's kids that are older, it's my responsibility in the space to write about and to talk about. If you're in the sixth grade, I got to talk about you as being in the sixth grade. Mm-hmm. I have to be objective. I can't put, when I'm doing this, I can't put my personal personalness.
You're just putting the information.
I have to put the information out there. Like it's tough, and the issue that I have is, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just using it as an excuse.
I agree.
When you say, why do you rank him if you know he's older? Because playing the game and having played the game, as you go, there's going to be multiple points as you play where you're going to have to play against people that are way older than you.
Yeah, and you just deal with the shit.
But what I view it as is, and I think we talked about it a little earlier, that's an opportunity for you to be able to learn. Yeah. Like, go up and compete against them. Like, figure it out and learn. Go and seek them out so you can gain knowledge of what can I do against that player, what can I do against that player, and why. And use it to grow, because I guarantee you, at some point in your journey, if you're successful, you're going to go up against a kid or a player that's going to be bigger and stronger and way more athletic than you, and you're going to have to figure it out. So the earlier that you can solve that process, the more equipped you're going to be later down the road. So it's a tricky thing. I don't want anybody just deliberately cheating the rules.
Right.
The whole Crispin Bell situation.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying that, but then again, look what he did.
Yeah.
He went and he was the youngest player to ever play in 15U and was successful and did well. So you can't get mad now just because if he decides to go back and play his age group.
Yeah.
Because he does play up. He plays.
Yeah.
Now, if they're not doing that, that's an issue.
That's
like if they're not, if they only want to go and play down there and stay down there.
And not push themselves, now you're just like, what are you doing? You're not.
And parents get mad, but really you should feel sorry for that kid because that kid is the best it's going to be.
Well, he's going to waste his potential. That shelf life is going to be very low.
They're going to pass him up.
And I agree with you on that because, like I said, my 8th grade, for instance, my 8th and 7th, and even my 6th, I play them up a lot, especially when we're local. I play them up a lot, and then, and I've tell my parents straight up. I said we're not going to use age as an excuse. I said, hey, we might play in this Made Hoops tournament, and they might have an old kid. Who gives a shit? Like, we signed up for this, so we're not going to complain. We're not going to give ourselves excuses. We're going to get on that court and we're going to get better, right? And because ultimately, I always tell my kids, the goal is to prep you guys for high school. That's my job, ultimately. When I have my 4th, 5th, 6th, and obviously you guys have different cornerstones along the way. Like my 8th grade, my job is get you ready for high school. That's we have in June next month, we have high school ball. I don't know, if they do that in your area. Yeah. So everything with my 8th grade is to prep them for that. That's it. And so that's why we're doing your event this weekend, and then next weekend they have an event at the Robinson Center. It's another big basketball facility, got 12 courts, called the Sacktown Swish. And right after that, they're in high school ball. I said, fellas, you guys get 2 good high-level tournaments, and then I'll see you guys a month and a half from now, right? So that, and then my 7th grade, it's like, okay, now the 8th grade's gone. I'm going to prep you guys in June to play some competitive events because next year, you guys are my 8th grade now. In my 6th grade, that's going to 7th grade. You guys are about it. And it's just that same hamster wheel for me. Yep. Is every organization and team like that? No. Of course, they're not. Some want to live, I call it the middle school hype, where you have this amazing 6th grade team, 7th grade team, 8th grade team, if you can really do it all 3 years and they love it and they live that hype. And then that's it. And they don't know.
I see it all the time because it's nearly impossible to keep a group together all the way through just because of the process. Yeah. I mean, people are gonna want to have their opportunity. They're gonna want to, do something else, or even more so when people kind of don't. I guess they gloss over it. But, like, when kids get to high school and puberty starts to hit, priorities change.
Yeah. 100%.
They don't – basketball ain't a big deal no more. No. It's fun, but they get focused on other things. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a lot of variables that kind of separate things and kind of separate players and separate, just them from us. Like – You have to you got to just understand and accept the process for what it is. If you want fair, I mean you're in the wrong business because nowhere is it fair. No, So
then I think two more of my questions for you. Then we'll get out of here. So what? And this is more just on personal question for you. Let's say. What's your end goal or your end game with what you're doing right now? You know what I mean? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where would you like to be with what you're doing out here? And like you said, going into the tournament space and, still doing the ranking stuff. But like, I'm sure there's a bigger picture for you. Like, what do you think? Honestly,
you're saying bigger picture. This is my passion.
Okay.
I'm open and honest and transparent. Like like we're number 2 in this space. Made is number 1.
You're right.
My goal is in 5 years we be number 1.
Nice.
That means we have the best tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
We have the most comprehensive rankings that people accept and see that are based around all around the country. And when we get to that peak and when we get to that full potential, we're able to provide something for this space that maybe hasn't been provided in different ways, that in visions that I have of how we can support, youth in the space, for kids that may be less fortunate, kids that don't have opportunities. Use this platform to try to enhance it. But again, I'm 46, so I don't like this is my passion project.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not trying to get anywhere else from it. Like I'm not trying to advance to another level. This is my passion project.
Nice.
So I'm in this to give back, to help find opportunities for kids that they may not have had, or maybe they didn't even think that they were ready to have. That's why I do it. Yeah. It's still like when I come to these events, like we were talking about, like I still get that excitement of what I'm gonna see, who's new, who do I get to, who's gonna be jumping out at me that I haven't seen before. And as long as that's part of my process, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be 10 toes down in it.
Yeah, it's a good, I guess, it's a great feeling, and like find your lane and know it, because this is my lane. I'll be real with you. Like I love what I do with because I did high school for a while, and I've done I did college too. I was assistant coach at ARC for a while, and to JUCO, but yeah, people have asked me like, do you want to be a high school varsity coach or anything like that? And I've thought about it. I applied. There is a school not too far from here called West Park. I applied for that varsity job just because, quite honestly, they got amazing facilities. It's like a brand new high school, and it's close to here. So I was like, yeah, I would try it. Didn't get the job, but honestly, I just didn't feel like, it wasn't like I didn't get it. I was like, oh crap. I know my lane in this AAU space and my training in AAU, and I love it, and I love what I do, and I agree with you. It's a good feeling to kind of just be okay with and content with what you're doing and keep growing from it. Yeah,
I mean, it's something that just because of me and my focus, like I completely glossed over that whole part, but I was a high school coach. I won 2 state championships as a high school coach. So
congratulations.
But again, it came back to the same thing that it was with AAU.
Yeah, it
was so much more going on than what I wanted to focus on.
Right.
Like you have to accommodate the parents. Yeah. You gotta accommodate the administration.
The boosters.
You gotta appease, and you gotta do stuff for it moved me away from my passion and what I enjoyed, and it's player development, and it's evaluating now. Mm-hmm. So that's there's nothing else that I would want to do, even because there's been opportunities to coach in college and stuff like that, and I mean it's situations that I've thought about, but there's so much more than just coaching. Yeah. Whenever you know. Yeah. So it's like in this space, and me doing this allows me to do exactly this. Like I can go out and evaluate and help kids, and I can be a resource, for parents and coaches and players, and I can make a living doing it.
Well,
I
was gonna say that was the other side. You can make a living, and honestly, you could be real. Like you can be honest. For you don't have to.
I don't have any
like
strings that I have to.
And like you said, there's no dog in this fight. You just like, look, man, I'm just giving you what I see, what I think, and hopefully, God willing, it all works out for him. That's a good position to be in.
Definitely.
what I was going to ask you too was I think it was my last question. Did it just slip my mind? I memorize all my questions. I had to learn. I had to learn how to do this because I used to have my laptop right here all the time, and I followed it. I was like, I didn't like how I sounded. I think I sounded like I was reading too much. Yeah. But give me 1 second. I know it's gonna come back to me. But okay, no, that's what it was. Okay, so no, I wanted to say to you, it was segueing to the bigger picture and whatnot, and loving what you do, but. With creating more and more tournaments, are you feeling pressure on that in terms of trying to because the tournament space I think is not spoken about enough.
Right. Because
I've had tournament directors on here like Elijah Johann. I'm trying to convince DeMario to do it. I know the behind the scenes work you guys do.
Yeah, that's good.
And I just want, if you felt like speaking on that a little bit, just because, again, I really want the parents and players to really understand all that goes into a lot of this stuff. That pressure, is it, are you managing it all pretty good, or does it feel like it's pulling a little more demanding than what you were doing, prior to?
It's a lot, but it's also why whenever we got into this space, I chose to develop regional partners. Us as Coast to Coast. Mm-hmm. In the Southeast, we have NGS, who is one of the strongest in that Southeast space. In the Midwest, we have KBC, who's really strong and has a great tournament background in that space. With DeMario and West Coast Takeover here. In the Southwest, we're strong, but we have a good partner. So what that allows me to do is if you have good partners,
right,
we can do it. We can address it together.
Right.
Like it's not all on one shoulder. To be able to get it done, because it is a lot when it comes to going out and finding teams and finding the gyms and referees and staff and just all of appeasing all of the teams with their schedules, all of that stuff. It can be a lot, and it is a lot.
That want to do this, that are okay doing this. I'm just curious your perspective or any thoughts on any of that.
Man, it's a tough job.
Yeah,
like you said, I've traveled, I've seen so many different places. It's a lot on these refs, man.
Yeah,
like. Some of the, between the parents, the coaches, like the way that they talk to these, referees, it's wild. I literally, every event I go in, I spend time and I talk to the refs.
Yeah.
Just to interact with them. But I do think it's that. I would like for there to be a process to unify them,
right.
and even if it's having clinics, and kind of developing a process to where you can learn and kind of grow, and even if it's kind of like a process to kind of teach them and groom them to kind of go up through the ranks, to be. Maybe college referees when they want to. But what tends to happen in AAU in different situations are there's no real regulation on the refs.
I know. Yeah.
In certain situations.
Yeah.
So they just give someone a shirt sometimes.
Yeah.
And
that's when things could go really bad really fast too.
Because people forget. It's the weirdest thing, but they forget that refs are people.
Yeah, I know.
And people have emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
And if you continue to yell and scream and curse and be disrespectful to somebody, everybody has their line.
Yeah.
So that can be problematic. And it can manifest itself in different ways. Like they may keep calm and fair, but their way of getting back at you may be, let me figure out who his child is.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get him.
Or fuck this team.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him because just because of the way that you're talking to me, I'm gonna make sure your team, doesn't. And it's unfortunate, but like there are bad people in every form of life.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to let one or group of referees mess it up for anybody, but it's a tough job.
It is.
And it takes the whole excuse me. It takes the whole community to work on itself to improve that situation.
Yeah.
Because if parents handled it a little more professionally, then I believe that the referees would also be more professional
Right.
In their process. But if you're one of those parents that are like standing right there under the goal, and every time the ref comes behind them and you're in the ear, complaining or
being disrespectful.
Telling them, they tell them some stuff.
Yeah.
You can't be all of a sudden shocked that, why does it seem like he's, targeting our team?
Right.
I mean, it's they're human.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a human element to
Right.
this. So I would love that they find a way to regulate it as a whole, and kind of develop a process of teaching and instructing the referees.
I think so too.
Kind of even if they created it doesn't even have to be an AAU referee committee.
Yeah.
But like you have to have qualifications.
Some sort of union, some sort of.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Now the challenge with that is, again, as understanding the space, they're going to require more money, which is going to be that much more difficult for the event people,
Right.
because they're going to feel like they're more valuable.
Right.
It's a lot.
tough.
It's a lot.
Because then you have to raise the prices. Then, of course,
Then
the
the parents
consumer
get
is going to be mad at raise prices. And then we have to raise our prices because it's like, hey, this is the cost of the tournament. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it. It's it is a tough balancing act.
It is.
But I like your insight in that, especially because, like I said, you've seen it.
Man, I've seen a lot, and it's so unfortunate, some of the situations that I've seen, because what gets lost is this is about the kids. What message are we sending to the kids when we're seeing parents coming fighting with the refs?
Yeah.
Parents coming on the floor and putting their hands on kids and
Talking to kids or.
the things that some of these parents say to other teams' kids is, it's out of it's off course from what we're supposed to be. This is supposed to be about our kids' development and growth and
competition, and of course, and part of competition, things could get heated, no doubt about that.
It's important. It's important to teach our kids how to compete and be professional about it too. You're not adequately preparing your kid for the adversity that they're going to face when they see how you handle it in these situations, by you yelling and cursing at other people because you're not getting your way. Then now you got to think you're setting an example for them when they get out. That's what they're going to think, or how they think that they're going to need to handle it. And it's problematic, and it's you're really hurting their development and growth. So it's tough. But I mean, again, I've seen some refs out there that's
right.
So I don't want to put this all on the parents.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but how you interact with them. I was out when I was coaching, especially in high school. Like, the last thing that I would want to do is get the ref against me.
Yeah.
So as much as I might challenge them, and as much as I may hold them accountable, it was always in a professional way. And it was always be like, okay, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad if I got too long.
Right.
Because
100%.
I also know I don't want to weaponize them against my team.
I always do a personal goal. I try to anyway.
Right.
I try to make a ref laugh.
Yeah.
If I can,
you got
just say a
them.
joke or something. Just be like, man, be like, watch my kid miss this free throw, and they laugh because I'm talking about my own kid or something like that. But again, it's and I make it clear, it's like, it's not to manipulate them. It's just so they understand. Look, we're just here trying to do our job.
Yes, exactly.
That's it.
And that's the issues that happen when the conflicts come from the stands, and they gotta. And listen, you gotta think about this, man. And I don't think parents kind of are. I hate to keep saying parents because I don't want it to seem like it's always the parents, but like you got to realize these refs are in the gym all day. They get tired. They make mistakes. They don't catch every call. They're human. Like, you can't expect perfection from a human.
Right.
Like, they're gonna make mistakes. They're not gonna see something.
Right.
They're gonna have a difference in opinion on what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that we get disrespectful. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Man. No, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Oh man. I think this was a really good episode that hopefully everybody checks out. Before we get out of here, do you have any shout outs you want to do or mention any honorable mentions or anything like that real quick before we get out of here?
Shout out to my team.
Okay.
Like I said, we're a small group with Coast to Coast, and my team works really hard, so I always want to salute them because everyone sees me, but I'm only one part of everything that we do. So, shout out to my team. They know who they are. They do a great job, man. And shout out to all of these parents and players and coaches that invest so much into this space because it takes a full commitment, in this space. So hats off to the parents. I know the sacrifices y'all make. I had to go through the process. Hats off to the coaches because I know the sacrifice you have away from family, friends a lot of times. And just, best wishes to everybody that we continue to move this space forward in a positive and an uplifting way.
All right, man. Well, great episode. I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you taking the time for it. And again, I will have links for his social media. The Coast to Coast Preps IG will be there in the description, so I suggest you go follow. The biggest thing, hopefully, again, from this episode, from my show, is to help you guys have knowledge to equip yourself to be the best athlete basketball version of yourself out there. Again, if you made it through the end, you're a real one. Do that HBO special, subscribe, help a brother out. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. It's this Memorial Day weekend. I know it's a lot of basketball going on. My teams will be competing this weekend, so shout out to my teams and YBA Elite Rize. Shout out to all the YBA teams out there. Everybody be safe, enjoy your weekend, and we are out.